I'm Gianna. I'm a junior at Whitman Hanson. Youth have always been the trailblazers in our community when it comes to accomplishing meaningful change. There's a lot of pressure put on our generation to be the catalyst for change. But what does that change look like? How do people our age achieve the change we want to see? Today we'll be breaking down the how-to of youth advocacy. At the end of the presentation, we'll ask you to work together in your groups to identify a problem you would want to address in your school. What changes you and your peers would want to see, and most importantly, what are the necessary steps to help achieve this change? We encourage everyone to listen carefully to your peers from other schools, to what your peers from other schools have to share. Be open to hearing different perspectives, and do your best to listen and understand rather than respond. What challenges may impact Bridgewater could look completely different than Plymouth, and what solutions work for Brockton may not fit Carver. This activity aims to encourage cross-collaboration across schools and potentially be inspired to bring some of these concepts back to your community. Each group will have a facilitator with questions to help lead these discussions.
Hello, my name is Solo. What is advocacy? Advocacy is when someone speaks out or acts in support of a cause, movement, or policy. It comes in all shapes and sizes. It can be a small acts such as telling a friend not to bully someone and using social media to share your lived experiences. It can require cross-collaboration such as doing research on a passion project or presenting your findings to your community leaders. Advocacy also concentrates on changing rules or laws and organizing rallies to support a specific movement. There's no one-size-fits-all approach to advocacy. Rather, all of these different approaches help to protect interests, educate and provide public awareness, inspire others through information sharing to take action. Many youth struggle with advocacy because they are motivated and have the ambition to tackle many different issues, yet they feel it's almost impossible to make any significant change. Although many people think of advocacy as trying to change the world as a whole, in reality it's just about changing the world of one person. When we say we think global, act local, what we mean is for you to do your best to channel your biggest dreams and passions into feasible and practical goals. For example, a problem you might be passionate about is ending world hunger. You can channel the passion into a donation drive where all the proceeds go to a local food bank.
Before you can start any advocacy process, you need to start with yourself. Think a little bit about what you want to do and why. Also think about what you bring to the discussion and where you might be able to make a difference. What skills do you already have? What changes do you want to see? What in your life already inspires you? Remember that advocacy is not always immediate, and sometimes your efforts need to continue long term. It is also important to identify that you need to develop and become what you need to develop and become better at. Advocacy is a constant process of learning and understanding. Although it is good to define your role within a team, it's just as crucial to be open to developing new skills outside of your comfort zone. Reflecting on these areas will also help you identify other people you need to work with. Advocacy is a team effort, so everyone plays a role, but equally important role. There are many parts you can play based on your strengths and experiences. Here are 4 examples. However, there are many more that could be included in this list. You could be a researcher. Research is all about investigation, finding out why things are a certain way, how they became that way, and how they might be able to change. Speaker. Speaking with people is a powerful way to share ideas. Good speakers connect their audience and can inspire people to take action in different ways. This requires confidence and sometimes improvisation. Don't be mistaken, you do not need to be the loudest voice in the room to be an effective speaker. The best speakers use their personalities to their advantage and embrace their strengths, whatever they may be. Writer. Good writing connects things like ideas, concepts, realities, and helps tell a story that people can connect to. Implementer. An implementer likes to get things done, be involved in activities, and get their hands dirty. They have an important role to play through the advocacy process, helping to move activities along in a systematic way. Now that we have heard different roles you can play, here are some ways to get involved.
The Be in the Know Youth Coalition. All of us here up on stage are part of the Be in the Know Regional Youth Coalition. The Be in the Know Coalition addresses, plans, and implements substance use prevention and behavioral health initiatives across southeastern Massachusetts. Our group also spends a large part of the year planning, facilitating, and implementing the Be in the Know Youth Conference. The goal of the coalition is to bring together students from all across the region to share ideas and strategies that others are utilizing at their schools, with the hope that it will inspire more schools to participate in different forms of prevention work. Members of the Be in the Know Youth Coalition will meet monthly on Zoom or hybrid style. If you're interested and would like to join, email cjmyers@hptc.org or come up to us at the end.
So now we're going to talk about another example of youth advocacy that a lot of us in the room may or may not be familiar with. I am very familiar with, and it's one of my favorite things to talk about of all time, and that's the Photo Voice Project. So thank you for the shout out. Similar to substance use disorder and mental health, problem gambling disorder is a public health issue that is impacting communities all across the state at growing rates as the years go on. The Photo Voice Project addresses the issues of underage problem gambling through arts-based prevention work. What this means is that participants are educated on different topics such as public speaking skills, health equity, and photography as a skill set. Youth are also taught how to recognize issues within their community, learning about the root causes of these problems, and identifying a set of actions that can be taken to remedy the identified problem. This education empowers youth to speak out on issues such as problem gambling in a creative and relevant way through taking photos and creating captions. This approach places youth, particularly those who experience disparities and inequitable balances of power, at the center of community change. A central part of the Photo Voice Project is creating a call to action and community action plan. This service learning project does not necessarily have to be focused on problem gambling. Rather, it challenges youth to integrate their passions into the project into tangible change. Their photos, captions, and community action projects are on full display at the Photo Voice exhibition, which invites members of the community to hear from youth in their own words what problems need to be addressed by those in positions of power. One woman show up here. So why does Photo Voice work as an example of youth advocacy? Photography is fun and creative. The opportunity to create art can be a powerful and fulfilling experience and can lead to viewing oneself in a different and more positive light. In addition, for many people, it opens the door to talents that maybe they didn't know that they had before. Also, taking photographs of familiar scenes and people can change perceptions about your community and your environment. When you're forced to think about how you want the picture to be seen as you're recording or photographing, participants themselves may start to see those scenes differently and think about alternatives in new ways. Also, basic photography is easy to learn and accessible to almost everyone. When you're forced to think about how you would want to picture the scenes that you're recording, it also emphasizes the fact that, photography is very universal. It transcends cultures, languages, so it's a very accessible way for everyone to get involved. A picture is worth 1,000 words, so seeing what someone else sees is more powerful than being told about it. Effective advocacy conveys a need for change in photos or videos, and those can make a far better impact than words alone. Simultaneously, people in positions of power can see and hear about people's reality and are inspired to take action. It's often easy for policymakers to assume or to claim that anyone with a need or a problem is exaggerating it. When faced with photos or videos of the actual conditions, they must acknowledge reality.
Now, both of those things that we just shared, being a part of the Youth Coalition and taking part of the Photo Voice Project, are both incredible ways to get involved. But not everybody who wants to get involved is interested in coming up on the stage on a podium and talking to hundreds of people, or photography might not be your thing. But that does not mean there are no ways for you to get involved. So we have a list right here that's some kind of more low-key ways or passive ways to participate in youth advocacy that make more of an impact than you can imagine. Simply just researching issues you are interested in and sharing that research with your peers is a great way you can help promote advocacy. Journaling or poetry reflections, whether you keep them private and it's just for yourself, or if you share them along with your peers, those work as well. Work within your school to make a change. That's a big, big one. You can work within your peers just talking to each other or talking to administrators or teachers that are around. Attending fundraisers, vigils, local events. I know High Point puts on a whole bunch of these. Signing petitions is a great way to help. Organizing a phone bank or a letter writing competition. Sending letters to your local elected officials. Volunteering at local organizations, and encouraging friends or family to vote for the causes that you believe in are all great ways that you can make a difference, even if it's just one person at a time. So now that we've thrown all of this information at you as to why youth advocacy is important, what the different roles are and the different paths to youth advocacy, how can you yourself get involved in prevention work in your community? If any of the topics that we've discussed today spark your interest, that's awesome. Showing up and ready to commit is already 50% of the work done. If you go to a school that already has a youth group established, perhaps you go to Bridgewater Raynham like I do with Bridging Lives, Peer Leaders, or you go to Southeastern VOTEC with their SAD chapter, then it will be a lot easier to get involved by joining that group. Your goal should be, if you want to get involved, is to get in touch with an involved adult in the school. If you are in one of the schools who already has a group, reaching out to those adults, or if you don't, reach out to an adult that you trust, that you think will support you, and bring that idea to them. This could be a teacher, it could be an adjustment counselor, or maybe even a coach that's at the school. Talking to someone who works at your school would be a great point of contact to help get you involved in initiatives that are already taking place, or founding initiatives of your own. You also want to talk to peers that are already involved. Talk to people who are in the club, or talk to people that have the same mindsets of you. Right now, you're in a room of over 200 youth advocates, and now that we've mixed you up, you're sitting at tables with people that you don't know. Take the risk to be brave and ask questions. Figure out what the people around you have done at their schools that have done good, and try to bring those ideas back to your own school. When you're trying to create a change, you need to brainstorm ideas of changes that you want to see. Try to create different ideas and different ways to go about things. You also want to take time to join a meeting. Bring your ideas and passions to the table. You never know who else is interested in the same issues that you are. If you bring up an issue, you voice something that concerns you, that could snowball and create a huge effect. In addition, the last thing is engage with others about your initiatives. When you have a thought in your head, don't be afraid to go to other people and talk to other people about it, because that's how you take that change from one person to snowball to an entire school, snowball to an entire county, to an entire state, and then to the entire nation. So, awesome.
How to build a coalition from the ground up. First, you want to talk to an adult who is passionate about your initiatives, such as a teacher or a counselor. Number 2, recruit interested peers driven to start this project, such as friends or people outside of school, even so. Meet a group and brainstorm some initiatives at the school, at lunch, during a class. Identify the 3 main goals you want to accomplish. You always need goals to drive yourself and something to start it up with. 5, get in touch with your community coalitions, such as internships or community resource centers. 6, ask for guidance from someone inexperienced or even experienced. 7, connect with other schools to see what their initiatives are, such as the ones you've seen today or ones local to you. 8, and do not be afraid to ask for help. Other schools can help motivate you and guide you forward.
All right, so we've talked a lot about what change can look like and what role you can play as champions of change in your community, but now we're going to switch gears and talk about the steps to achieving sustainable change. A tool that we use as experts in the field is what we call the Strategic Prevention Framework. Not that you need to memorize that. There will not be a pop quiz later on. And we use this framework because if we want to bring about change, we first need to better understand the different factors contributing to the issues we wish to address. For example, if we as a team want to tackle the problem of underage substance use in the area, we must understand what are the reasons that youth are using substances in the first place and what challenges they experience making them more likely to partake in substance use. You will notice our steps to change are not linear, but are in a circular fashion or in a cycle. This is because you may need to adjust your strategies halfway through if you find out that your original plans are not as effective as you intended. But remembering that it's important to be flexible throughout each and every step we will be outlining for you today, and it's okay if you need to switch gears. Being flexible is really important. The first step to change is assessing your community's needs by gathering and analyzing data to identify and address local problems and resources. To me, data can sometimes be an intimidating word, but in reality, data can mean a lot of different things. It can be both numbers and figures, as well as the stories of lived experiences. By identifying the real needs of your community, you can plan programs and projects that are aligned with your overall goals, and that'll make a difference. The next stage is capacity building. Capacity means an individual or a group's ability and willingness to accomplish certain objectives on their own. Someone who is very informed and has the time and energy to invest in your passion project is someone who has a lot of capacity. Whereas someone who might be disinterested and is already busy with their responsibilities and commitments, they might have less capacity to help you achieve your goals. This step is important because it involves identifying what resources are available in your community and deciding how you might be able to use each resource to meet your goals. Planning is the third step and where you will spend a lot of your time. In this phase, you develop a logical, data-driven plan with evidence-based practices to address problems identified in the assessment stage. Planning is basically where you take all of the information and data you've collected in the steps before and channel them here. Planning might look like talking out all of your ideas in a group, including initiatives that have and have not worked, building a step-by-step timeline to achieve your goals, as well as checking for blind spots. What we mean by blind spots are potential hiccups you might not have considered at first, but may arise as you move through the stages. For example, you might want to plan a park cleanup, but did not consider how you would even get to the park in the first place. Transportation in this instance would be a blind spot. The more intentional you are in your planning process, the smoother your implementation will go. The fourth step, implementation, simply means to carry out the project or take action based on the plan that you created. Implementation takes place on the day of your project or throughout your campaign. It includes all of the activities that are part of your project plan, including your evaluation. Think of this as the fun part, the chance to finally do all of the wonderful things that you have been imagining for so long. So like today, the youth conference is our implementation of all the planning that the Youth Coalition did over the year. The evaluation process not only includes determining how well your project went and measuring its impact, but whether or not it accomplished what you intended in the first place. This might be a conversation discussing your hot and colds, as we do often, a debrief, or analyzing the responses received in post-survey data, which we will be doing after today. The evaluation process should help you decide if your program, strategy, or project should be improved for next time, or if it is ready to be implemented again. By using these stages of change, we can identify and assess the key issues in our community, build connections with diverse partners, reach our goals, learn how to make things better make things better than they were before, We also have the opportunity to share our knowledge and expertise with other youth and adults around the state to teach them how to create sustainable and effective projects to better their community. Like with anything in life, practice makes perfect. We do not expect you to remember all of these steps by heart by no means. So much of using these stages of change is about making mistakes so that the next time you can learn and improve your approach. Youth advocacy is just as much about learning from your setbacks as it is appreciating your successes as they come. Now let's hear from Penn State football letterman Aaron Mabin, if you guys know him, that's amazing, who utilizes art and education to inspire social change and shape the future of his community. So I'll turn it over to Aaron.